Okay. So in the kai you said the front is going down, the back's going up, and then the second part of the kai was like twisting the wrists, and it was tiptoe, the tapping of the ankles.
Yeah.
So I want to get to the significance of what are we focusing on when we after the kai because it's going down one way, up the other way. But when we do the wrist, are we still maintaining the same visualization?
Okay. First of all, when you say do something with the wrist, that to me sounds like an independent action. First of all, it's not an independent action. The wrist is just an expression like a handle of a whip. When the handle moves, the tip will follow. Very similar, right? When you're doing a ping pong paddle, when the waist moves, the paddle will move in some direction. Kind of similar to that. So the hands, let's demonstrate. Okay, so when you start, the hands are like this. Okay, the palms are facing down. So when you sink to go back, right, and when you're going back, it's not you're losing territory or losing distance. Once you sink, then you go into the internal space. So what gives you the illusion of me going back? I'm not losing territory. I'm sinking, and when I go back, the equilibrium is already in the internal space. When I go back, I still have my center. So in the in-person class, we verify this all the time. If I sink and I physically go back on the surface, I have no base. And when you come into my arms as giving me energy, I'm going to struggle because I can't take it down into the internal space. I'm already off center already. But if I sink and the center moves and you come into my arms with energy, 5, 10, 15, 30, 40% and up, I'm still very comfortable. I'm not struggling. So that's to clear that up for our first one, okay? And the hands, once I go down, I go back, I sink, it's an expansion. And when my hands move, it's not because they move by itself. It's because of the internal balloon, the peng lu ji an, the expansion energy. When it opens my hands. And then I'm going to sink again to gather from the back leg to rebound that energy to go up. And when the hands are going up like this, that's spiraling. I'm spiraling. The spiraling is not just going up and down. Everything that you do, like your arms, especially your arms, because that's a contact point with the other person, you're spiraling. And that spiraling is an expression of what you're doing with your Zhongding. Your Zhongding is spiraling down, is spiraling up. And as a result, your hands carry that same expression. So they're not twisting on its own. And when you're doing two-person drills, that becomes very obvious. It's day and night. Because the spiraling changes the trajectory of what you give me energy. When you touch me at the point of contact, I'm already spiraling. I can take your energy into my central equilibrium while still maintaining balance. Okay? So keep in mind that we have a lot of ping pong players out here in San Francisco. Come out here, do some workshops, and you come into the in-person class, and then you could experience spiraling. That's what I'm doing with my hands. It's an expression, a continuation of momentum energy, which I talked about last week, of what's happening to the internal system. And I'm spiraling. That's what it is. So it's not twisting. It's not doing independent action. It's part of the energy flow. Now, when I talk about energy flow, it's not just an IST. Energy flows in everything. When you have energy flow that knows how to work evenly, that comes from the ground up, now there's no separation. Now energy knows how to get to the target. Energy has no break. and you're not resetting. Okay. And energy flow, another word to use for it in terms of how they use it in the Western context, fluidity. Fluidity. Fluidity is very important, Edmund, not just in IST, right? Because you do ping pong, you absolutely have that in ping pong training as well. Without the fluidity, you freeze. Without the fluidity, if you get nervous, you don't have fluidity, right? You need 静下来, a quiet mind to have fluidity. That's part of the energy flow. Energy flow is fluidity. Just another word to use that maybe how Westerners like us can understand it, right? And when you have fluidity, when you try to move me, it's not that I'm stronger than you, right? We have, people there that are 60, 70 pounds heavier than me. I'm a small person. When they're coming at me very hard, like Sal, over 6 feet tall, 200 pounds full of muscle and mass, he's coming at me. I'm comfortable. Why? Because I know how to connect with Sal's energy. I know how to take it into my center. So I have to ground to help me because his energy is going to the ground. That's energy flow. That's fluidity. You become a conduit of energy. And I believe that plays out in all sports because I've done other things in my past life where I was very active in different things, everything from basketball to jiu-jitsu to martial arts to being an acrobat. Fluidity is very important. And that's just another term for energy flow. Okay? So hope that helps, Edmund. You're on mute. Anybody have any other questions?
Sorry, I meant to ask the second part. After the kai he, you were
Oh, the second part, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Is it the same
So,
idea? It's the
same idea.
Yeah.
When the hands move, right?
Yeah.
It's spiraling. And when I'm spiraling, you have to remember spiraling is part of rooting in the bigger picture simply because I'm going deeper and deeper into the internal space. Okay? Without rooting, then you don't have song. To have song, you will have rooting because you need to allow for the releasing of what? When you're doing solo training, it's your gravity weight. We want that gravity weight to go to the ground. When it goes to the ground, 很沉, very heavy. And that heaviness, right, is very important. Now, most of you have played basketball or maybe understand to a certain point. Man, that guy under the brim, I can't move him. They're so stable. They always box me out because they have Chen. They're very stable. They can get their weight and connect it to the ground. And that's not a physical presence. People that understand basketball in a very high level is very similar to Tai Chi, to the IST. We talk about Jing Song Chen Wen. Think about Chen Wen. Chen means very heavy. Like a tree that has a branch, the roots go down to the ground, and they're very stable. And you watch the real good basketball players that know how to play, have a good career in the NBA. They're very stable. You can't move them because they know how to box people out. They know how to use and leverage their whole body, not just their arms. They may not talk about it in that way, how I'm explaining it, but when you have conversations with these people, they're one and the same. It's no different. Okay? They're one and the same. So that's what you're doing in the second half. On one leg, you're learning to go heavier and heavier and heavier. So you're training the yang to release, to go heavier and heavier. And the other parts of the body, you're cultivating yin, how to receive. So we talk about in the Tai Chi classics, you must understand Yamja. And sometimes they use these fancy words, substantial, insubstantial, full, and light. They all represent the same direction. Understand yin and yang. Tai Chi is all about yin and yang. Okay? And when you get into the big picture of other sports, they also represent that same quality. Okay? Yeah, they're very similar. They just explain it very differently. Okay? Yeah.